So I did a thing. Actually, I did 3 things, but one of these things are not mine, and I will show you which in a few minutes. Behind me are 3 designs for wool farms for whatever your wool needs may be, i.e. villager trading, pixel art, furnace fuel. Like I said, whatever your wool needs may be. I don't judge, I just build things. By the way, I do stream weekly. Channel links are in the description below. Come stop by and say hi, see what we're up to. Also, if you find this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I will be doing more in the future. In this video, I'll be going over all 3 of these designs, how they work, and then doing a step-by-step on how to build them yourself in your world. There are some things to note. Some of these mechanics do not work the same in Bedrock as in Java, but there are workarounds. You can get this to work in both editions. So our first design here is actually by OMGcraft. This is not my design. This is slightly modified to fit the Java mechanics. Some of these mechanics do not work in Bedrock as far as the grass and what the grass can sit underneath, but the basic concept is still the same. This is a single pod wool farm, and basically what it does is this block right here is the block that the sheep stands on, and there's an observer that watches it. When it changes from dirt to grass or grass back to dirt, it fires off a signal and it attempts to shear the sheep. Now I have removed the piece of redstone from right here. Piece of redstone is supposed to be there, right there, but we're going to keep that off for the time being because we're going to start all these at the same time, and while we're building these 3, and see how many wool they collect in these chests while we're building. And we'll set a timer for it so that way we can get kind of a count. I don't have any mods in this world, no plugins, so we're gonna have to do some manual math. But this is the basicness of it. So while there is a piece of redstone on the back of this, when the observer fires off the signal, it powers this block, which powers this piece of redstone, which fires off this dispenser full of shears. I do have hoppers going into the dispenser from both sides. They're pretty full. This will last you quite a while. You can leave the sheep in here to be sheared for a long time, and this chest will be full in due time. Hopper minecart collects the wool that is sheared off the sheep through the full block, and that's pretty much the fundamentals of this sheep farm. Like I said, this all credit to OMGcraft for making a video for this. I decided to take this a step further. Now I was looking for different wool farms out there and how you can cycle sheep through, how you can get them to eat grass, and then come back to a dispenser. Then I thought, wait a minute, what if we just move the grass around instead? So here we have the solo pod shuffle grass wool farm that I have designed. We don't use this, we actually use the 6 pod, but we started off with this concept to see if we can get it to work. Same idea, we have a redstone signal that comes out the back into a repeater, and there's supposed to be a redstone right here. We're leaving it off right now because like I said, we're going to start all these at the same time, approximately at the same time, and see how far we get when we're building the wool, right? All right, so alongside here we have the grass that moves in a clockwise motion. So all the grass gets shifted to the right, then 1 down, to the left, then 1 up. This happens whenever the observer fires off its signal. So it gets fired off, goes into a repeater that goes into that piston, which fires the first one. This piston fires the second one. This piston fires third. And this piston fires fourth. And then this is all controlled with the delay on the repeaters. In Bedrock Edition, this does not work quite the same, as Redstone is a little bit different, but it is doable. I have tested it. I have built it. I'm very frustrated with Bedrock, so I'll leave that to you all to figure out. But this is the basic mechanics of it. Also on Bedrock, if this redstone was to run by this piston, it would actually try to power that piston as well. It doesn't bypass it. But then the same mechanics for the hopper collection. Down below, we have a hopper minecart on top of a hopper, which goes into the chest. And this is not collecting any wool right now because I have this piece of redstone not here, which we will be putting it back momentarily. All right, so this is the 6-pod shufflegrass wool farm. We have 6 pods of sheep. They're all purple. Put them all the same color so that, well, just easier to count things that way. Up here is a hopper chain that distributes the shears. Let's put a couple more in there because we can. I already have a piece of shears in my, I already had shears in my inventory. Well, that's okay. We'll just make more shears. I want to make sure all these have shears. Now there are different delivery systems for shears. There are different collection systems for the wool. Afterwards, this is one of them. This is for demonstration purposes. So I know this is not the best collection system. And eventually, if you have several of these modules here, then this can get very laggy. But for demo purposes, this will do just fine. This is the same concept as the single pod shufflegrass wool farm, except instead of pushing, what is it, four pieces of grass across? Actually, it's 3. We're pushing maximum, pushing 12 blocks across. The max we can get off that is 6 pods out of here, which actually is pretty good. We have, on our survival server, we have all 15 or 16 colors stacked up, and we have them all going into a water stream, and that water stream never stops flowing until one of the colors of wool in the storage system gets full. As you can see, the grass does shuffle around when one of the blocks changes. If any one of these blocks changes from grass to dirt, or from dirt back to grass, it will shuffle around. The idea is to have the chance of a sheep standing on grass. We want that chance to be increased. Like I said, we've had pretty good results. I don't have a counter per se on the server. We don't have any metrics or statistics, but like I said, the wool never stops flowing. A color may stop flowing for a while, but the wool from all 16 colors or 15 colors, I can't remember how many colors there are, they never stops flowing until the storage system shuts off one of the farms. So with that, let's get to building this ourselves. So we'll start with the OMGcraft one. Again, I do not take credit for this. I'm just gonna demo it anyway, just because we can. Oh, I don't have any glass. I got rid of my glass. I like to put glass down here just to keep the minecart from getting bumped off, in case you run by it and you're like, oops, I bumped into it, then you don't have that trouble getting it back on there. And above this, place 3 pieces of grass like that, like so. This will be the piece of grass that the sheep stands on. 3 pieces of grass in front, one right there, and in the back is going to be a little bit different. In the back, we're going to have an observer. Now this very basic, very simple, very effective though, single pod sheep farm. If you are always in the area where this will work pretty good. If you forget about it, you'll come back and be like, oh my gosh, there's so much wool in here. It actually is quite surprising. So we'll fill this with shears. We'll let the dispenser fill up. Regular shears last quite a while. I don't know anybody who's put on breaking on this yet, but if you want to put on breaking on all of those because you have books to spare, go for it. It'll last even longer. I'm using a pumpkin because in survival, normally the pumpkin or the jack-o'-lantern is pretty easy to craft, just a torch and a carved pumpkin, right? I do think the sea lanterns and the glowstone are prettier. I think the sea lantern is the most appealing block as far as light sources goes. So I do prefer putting a sea lantern up here, but I do not put the hopper on top because sometimes you put a hopper on top and you start to throw items, they can get stuck up there like that. We don't want that, right? Let's go down here and collect that piece. So this is the basic of the wool farm. Actually, just kidding. I missed a couple blocks. We have to put a block back here. We got to put a piece of redstone right on the back of that. So when that observer sees that this middle piece has changed, it will fire off. The dispenser through this little mini circuit. It's like a 1 block, I guess it's technically 2 blocks circuit, and we'll try to shear the sheep. You know what? I did forget to set all those. Let's go set all these. Let's start with the single wool farm. I totally forgot to set these guys. 1, 2, and we'll go behind every pumpkin. Okay, now they're all set. We're not too crazy about it, so those are all set. Those are all collecting. They're all getting sheared at the rate at which they are eating the grass, and the grass is growing back. So we'll come back in the end and kind of get the measurements of how much wool each wool farm produced, so that you can make a decision for whatever you want to build in your world. All right, so this is the basic of the wool farm here. We're gonna place the sheep in there. Now, if you're getting sheep in here, I'd recommend using leads and wheat. And if you're building it high, if you're stacking these up, use scaffolding. Sheep will go up scaffolding. They won't take fall damage. And you can get them into a pod pretty easily. Let's put a light source back there where we said we need a light source. So jack-o'-lantern. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna have to redo that. Jack-o'-lantern. The wrong button. That's what happens when you hit the wrong button, which I always seem to do. Well, we'll do a white sheep. And we'll let him go. He's fine. You know, let's make him purple, just like everything else. Or you know what? Let's go with orange. We'll go with orange just because orange is cool. Orange is different from purple, so we'll just keep orange over here. Next, we'll do the other one. We'll do the shuffle grass wool farm. We will start with a chest and a hopper, and we'll do the same thing as we did over on the other one. Let's grab some glass, put it on the sides. We'll grab a hopper minecart. Whoops, hopper minecart. And we will build on top of that. Now, in this case, we're going to be putting a piston over here. Be sure you're not pushing the block that the sheep is standing on, which would be this one. You want to push the one next to it. If you push that one, the sheep will fall through and he will die. Or she, whatever your sheep is. And we need an observer again. Really need to manage my inventory better, but we'll get to the bottom of this. Observer block right there, piece of grass. Now, in this case, we're actually going to put the grass underneath that one right there. For this build, you'll need a repeater out the back of this. Leave the repeater on default. You don't have to change the ticks on it. You can if you want to just fool around with it, but you don't need to. Put that right there. And we'll put a dispenser like we did before. Put a piece of redstone on top of that so that it powers the dispenser. After that, we'll put a hopper into the side of the dispenser. Put a jack-o'-lantern on top. And we'll put a chest full of shears in there. What is going on with my mouse? Okay, here we go. So we put the glass here, build the glass up. Now we got to figure out the pistons, right? Pistons, we'll have to push around so that so that the grass gets shuffled around. Now, in theory, this sheep farm, the single pod, there's enough grass here where the sheep will always be standing on top of a piece of grass. In theory, should never be standing on a piece that is not grass. If you're wondering the reason why I'm putting this grass here is because grass, according to Gamepedia, grass will spread in a downward way faster than it will spread in an upward way. So just going off that, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but if it is, we're going to assume it's true and going to, oops, that's in the wrong spot, guys. Go off based off those notes. This goes right here. Okay, so you're gonna have a gap right there, that piece. That gap needs to be there. And you can have a piece of grass right on top of that, because when grass is put underneath another piece of grass, it does take some time for it to turn to a dirt block. I guess you could say it suffocates, but I don't know if that sounds not nice at all, but that's kind of what happens to the grass. It kind of suffocates and dies, but you don't have to worry about that if the grass is going to be under there temporarily. So we're going to set these all up. This will be our first piss in the fire. Keep that there on a single tick. This will be our fourth piss in the fire. Put that on 4 ticks. Connect the redstone up to here. And same thing over here, except this is going to be our second piss in the fire. 2 ticks. Oops. 3 ticks. Hook it all up, and we are good to go. All we got to do is put a sheep in here. And we'll make him orange because orange is cool. And when he eats the grass, he gets sheared on, all the grass will get shuffled around. Let's see if he eats the grass anytime soon. And we might wait a little bit, see what happens. Hopefully, what should we name him? Herman? Herman should eat the grass soon. Let's go. It is also worth noting that the spread of grass depends on... while we're not looking, of course Herman would do that. Spread of grass is determined by the time of day. I have a redstone clock over here keeping it noon, so we can have maximum rate so you guys can see how it's working. So every like, I don't know, 15 seconds it changes to noon, keeps the weather clear. But you do want it to be, you do want to keep that in mind that the grass spread depends on the time of day. It does not depend on the light level, although light level is required for grass to spread. If the block trying to receive grass does not have a high enough light level, it will take longer or will not happen at all. So if you have this in an underground or in a building and you have it covered where it doesn't have sky access to skylight, then you will want to put a artificial light there, like a jack-o'-lantern or a sea lantern, glowstone, torch, whatever. Make sure that grass has enough light. All right, so you kind of see how this one's working. This one is shuffling grass around, making sure that sheep is always standing on a piece of grass and not dirt. These ones right here, they should theoretically become grass before they ever reach the sheep. It's not a guarantee, but it does increase the likelihood that the sheep will always be standing on a piece of grass. As you can see, this corner piece already became a piece of grass, which is good. So when it gets shuffled around, it'll make sure that the sheep is standing on a piece of grass. And this piece just turned as well. So this one is all lined up for the sheep to be standing on a piece of grass the entire time. So since I've built this one has collected 8. This one was built first. This one has collected 8 and 2 shears apparently. So this one was built first. This one was built obviously second. Took us a little bit longer took us some time to build this. Couple minutes, but already in a few minutes this one has 8. This one's been running for a little bit and it has 8 as well. Let's take a look at building the shuffle grass wool farm that pushes the maximum amount of blocks as possible. Let's go. We're going to start on this one. We're going to start with the pistons themselves because that's kind of what's determining where it's going to be. We're We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Coming to the front like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Leave this one blank right here because we have to have a gap. Kind of like those puzzles you've seen growing up where you have those squares and you always have one missing. So kind of like that. So we're gonna start off on this one right here, not that one. So if you're observing this one, that means your sheep standing on this one. If your sheep standing on the one that's moving, your sheep will fall through and die. Or escape. Hopefully just escape, not die. And then place these observers on every other one. Your 6th observer should end on the end block, like this. You'll place a piston right next to it. Place a piston on the end here to push it in. And then we'll place a piston right there to push that. Okay, so we have those pistons in place. This is what it should look like. And then we will get the other stuff set up. All right, so you can place glass on every other one in between the observers like that. And in the entire front row, you can do glass as well. In Java Edition, glass can be on top of grass and it won't suffocate it and turn it into dirt. I'm not sure about Bedrock, but if that is the case, you may not want to put glass on top of your grass. I haven't tested it out. I do not know. I do know if you put a piece of grass underneath a hopper on Bedrock, it will change it to dirt. That is not the case in Java Edition. Okay, so the similar thing to the other one over here. We're going to be placing blocks underneath like that. And you can connect these. You don't have to have these connected. You can. It's up to you. Can all be separate. I'm gonna have repeaters coming out of the back of all of these. And a piece of grass on top of that. We want to get our dispenser and place those. I probably should have placed these first. Place all these dispensers above the observers. Make sure they're facing towards where the sheep will be standing. And then leave all those on regular tick. Place grass blocks on top of all of those. Now the parts that will connect is to run up individually, and then you want to connect these all together on this back block. What that'll do is that'll make it to where even if this back one fires over here, it'll still fire off this piston way over here because the signal strength will be great enough. We're going to take some glass here. We're going to, and by the way, you can use whatever block you want for this bottom piece. It doesn't have to be glass. I'm just using it because why not? This will be the 4th piston to fire off, so we're going to put on 4 ticks. This will be the 1st piston to fire off, so leave it on 1 tick. Did I change up by accident? Nope, I did not. Okay, good. And then we'll come over here and do the same thing. We'll just apply the appropriate number to these pistons right here. This one will be 2 ticks. This one will be 3 ticks. And we'll connect the redstone up. Now the circuitry for this is done. We just got to optimize the grass for spread. And make it look somewhat decent, right? Again, I elevate this one because according to the notes on Gamepedia, it says that grass will spread down faster than it will across. We elevate this one up a little bit. And for this piece right here, I'm going to do a hopper chain. I'm going to put hoppers into each of these dispensers. Make sure you have your light source, of course. I'm using jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins, whatever you want to call them. And connecting them all up to a double chest full of shears. let those go for a bit while we continue building this and see how it works. See how much we have to fill up after that. All right, so that is the basics of that. Depending on what kind of block you use for your light source, I found if you use a jack-o'-lantern, it doesn't count as a transparent block, so it will fire off a trapdoor if you put it there. When I was testing with sea lanterns, if you use sea lanterns, you have trapdoors here, those sea lanterns won't fire off. The reason why that's important is because if you have trapdoors here and they keep flicking because of the redstone powering them, you may have a piece of wool that flies up and the trapdoor may actually fling it out. You may end up losing wool. So if you're gonna use pumpkins here or the jack-o'-lanterns, I recommend not putting trapdoors up top. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you do that, that will get powered whenever the dispenser gets powered. So maybe not do that. If you're gonna use a sea lantern or glowstone, well, I know for a fact it doesn't work with sea lanterns. So if you put a sea lantern there, this trapdoor will be fine. All right, let's fill up our chest even more. This is probably the only downfall I seem to find for this this wool farm is that you keep having to replenish the shears. If you have a huge, I guess what do you call it? I guess miniature source for shears. A huge miniature source, that makes sense. You have a chest system that's just full of shears. It's used as your what is that word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. I can't think of the word. Reservoir. If you have like a reservoir full of shears, then you should be good. You should be well off. Also, you might want to note that if you're using this build here, then you might want to have an iron farm going already, because these things, while they are pretty cheap, having this many shears does get kind of expensive. So what I do recommend doing is using this whole module for one color. You can shut off the whole module just by applying a steady redstone signal to the back here. You can, here you go, it's turned off now. It is not going to run anymore. Until you turn it back on. So what we have is our storage system sending a signal back to this circuit right here to keep that powered on whenever it does get full. And then not only is that less items acting at once, it also keeps these items from using shearing sheep, and having wool sitting there as ticking entities or just floating entities in the world, which can cause lag. So let's put some sheep in here. Going with orange, right? Orange sheep. Let's do orange sheep. You will all be of one color, so we can count. You know what? We totally forgot to put a collection system down here. So let's kind of do what we did on the other side. We'll do something like this just because we can. This is not necessarily the right way to do it, but we're gonna use this anyway. And we'll put that right there. We'll put a block over here. Sure, we'll put it right there. Actually, we'll put this I would do that to myself. I would trap myself in there. All right, there we go. And we'll put rails on top of there. We'll put powered rails on top of this so we can get a rail cart going across there, collecting all the wool that's sitting up there. And we got our hopper mine cart and send it on its way, and it'll start collecting. And already we have a lot of wool coming through. Make sure there's nothing sitting up here, which is great. So, oh, we have a white sheep up here. That's okay. We can still do some maths. And we have 26, 27 in here. We have 36 over here. We have, apparently we have 18 right there, which is fine. As you can see, this one starting off is a little bit faster. We got 27. Did we shear all the sheep? Or did we make all the sheep the same color? I thought we did. Either way. But over here, we started all these at approximately the same time. And the time it took for us to build all three of these, we've had these two running. This one has 17. That is the solo sheep pod. This is the solo shufflegrass pod. This has 23 compared to 17. And this is the 6 pod shufflegrass wool farm. And this has 2 stacks and 33 already. And this was turned on after these were all turned on. So that is pretty much these 3 wool farms. We have, like I said, we have the 6 pod shufflegrass wool farm in our survival world. We have these stacked up to, I don't know, I was like 130 something blocks high. It can still use some improvements. We're still finding some things that we can do better on it. Hopefully with this build, maybe if you build it in your world, maybe you can find some things that could be done better, way better than what we did. If so, congratulations, and I really hope that you do find a way to optimize this. That's what I think Minecraft is all about, is seeing what someone else did and improving upon it and sharing it with everybody else. So that's kind of what we did with OMGcraft's piece right here. We said, hey, that's pretty cool wool farm. Let's see if we can make it even better. And so that's what we did. We took it and we optimized it to the best that we know, and as we find things that can be improved, we improve upon those things. Like there should be grass back here, and there wasn't. So we put that grass back there. Little things here and there that we can always improve on. But yeah, that's the video, and hopefully you liked it. Again, if you like this video, please drop a like, subscribe. I plan on doing some more in the future as we develop new little redstone systems that could make your Minecraft experience a lot better. So until next time, we will hopefully see you in the stream.